Hello and welcome to the fan phone-in. As always, you know the drill. We thought it was a turning point. It was another false dawn. I'm beyond anger, and with me, beyond the point of anger, it's my co-host. It's Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I watched your post match. I think I pretty much agreed with everything. I enjoyed the blue balls analogy, by the way. That did.
That's how it is.
So thanks for that. Well, it is.
When we get to the edge of the box, they're giving us blue balls. Like the team are edging us.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Got it. So for full disclosure, I wasn't at the game. And I was a very close friend's 40th, so I followed it as much as I could do. But to be honest, I don't think it really matters because we've been here so many times before, haven't we? In fact, we were here against Cardiff in exactly the same situation where we had a lot of the ball. I would argue the Plymouth game obviously dominated more of the ball, but you're not creating enough chances and getting punished for it. And, you know, I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of particularly how we approach games at home. So just quick question for you. We have played 14 games in the league at home under Bloomfield. Would you like to hazard a guess of how many of those we've won?
I would say we've probably won 3.
No, more than that. More than that.
4.
5.
5.
But 3 out of 10 last season, and 2 out of the remaining 4 this season. Obviously, we beat Wigan, but even the games that we won this season, don't forget, was Wimbledon at home in the first match of the season, and then that Wigan game. So if we were to think about when we've been convincing winners at home, I can really, hand on heart, only say Bristol City and maybe Coventry because of how dominant we were. But, I wouldn't say convincing winners considering the nature of the goal we had to score to win it. But yeah, that's it. And what concerns me more than anything is that if we are going to do anything in this league at all, we have to have Kenilworth Road back to the way that it was. We have to start dominating games in every sense. And there is a real lack of self-belief and confidence in players as soon as they get into the opposition's half. Less so away, clearly. It's worth saying as well that, we played Burton away, whereas we played Cardiff and Plymouth, who are a bit better. But still, it's a real concern for me going forwards that.
So there are other problems as well, like sort of building on your question. I put a question back to you. Out of all the goals we scored this season at home in the league, how many have been from open play?
At home?
At home. How many have been from open play?
This season, did you say?
This season. Yeah.
Well, there's just going to be the goal we scored against Wimbledon, which was an own goal.
That was an own goal. Yeah, we didn't score it.
But open play.
But we didn't score it.
Oh, from us. Okay, by us.
Yeah,
then.
By us.
Okay, so Wimbledon, no. Wigan, no.
Yeah, second place from a corner.
Cardiff, we didn't score.
Yeah.
So.
And yes, there was 2 penalties.
2 penalties.
So we have not scored from open
0
play.
Then, yeah, fair enough.
Here's another question. Before we get some callers in. Call link is in the the chat. It's also in the description below, so feel free to join us. Second question. When was the last time that we beat a team that had 10 men? Excluding Coventry, where we just got lucky and Baptiste shot pretty much, he jammed
10 men as well. So I don't think
Coventry were down to 10 men in the 18th minute, and I
was there. Yeah.
I remember you had some unsavory words for Ellis Sims. And you frightened a little 4-year-old in front of us.
All right, yeah, okay. Well, not my proudest moment. got a bit overexcited. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, not as
So
bad as Liam Walsh. In
no.
terms of mouthing off. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Last time we beat 10 men at home. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's been a lot of occasions where we've
Last time we
faltered
beat 10
against
men
10
at
men.
all.
And
Last
last time
time we
we beat
beat
10
10
at
men.
all. Yeah.
I did my
Um,
research for this one.
You're gonna have to, because I have no idea. I've no idea. I can only think it'd be in the championship season when we got promoted, but I can't think of a time. But
So the last time was the Sheffield Wednesday home game in September, Wednesday, 21st September 2024.
Hmm.
Do you remember Deshaun Barnard got sent off for a handball on the line?
yeah.
He
Yeah. Yeah.
converted the
Oh
penalty.
yeah. Yeah.
We were 1-0 down until the 80th minute.
Hmm.
And then Carlton Morris found a way to score, but we did not deserve that at all. In that time, in that research, we had a lot of red cards last season. A lot.
Certainly
When I
did.
was going through the games.
Mostly
And
Liam Walsh.
in that time as well, we also failed to be a 10-man Blackburn. They scored, had a player sent off, and then we just couldn't get past them. And I think before that, we also lost to a 10-man Wolves in the Premier League. So we are terrible at playing
We
against
drew
10
against
men.
Wolves with 10 men. We nearly lost, didn't we? We drew because we got that penalty. Is that right? Pretty sure we got that penalty that was debatable.
Wolves at home.
Yeah, we drew that game.
Yeah, it was a handball.
But it was that handball VAR penalty.
Yeah, but
but
we can.
Yeah,
but the point stands. We are terrible against 10 men. We cannot play against 10 men. A big part of that is just the movement up top. It's not fast enough. We can't break down a low block, and that is a problem we've had pretty much this season or last season. As soon as we are the overdog, I can't think of the favorite. Favorite syndrome. Like whenever we're the favorites, we choke hard.
Do you know we've been saying this for years? I mean it. I mean and I'm sure been saying it before we're doing this podcast. Me and you did this. Probably the first podcast that we did as a preview for the championship season straight after we got relegated from the Premier League. And I remember saying at the time, I'm really concerned about how Luton are going to cope with the favourites tag. But it's been that way for ages, hasn't it? We can't cope with it when we're not underdogs. And it's been said. I mean, just Matt on the chat. We cannot handle the expectation at home, and I don't know how you solve that, because the expectation of the fans is bigger this season, and it will continue to get bigger when we lose games. Exactly right. We just can't seem to handle that expectation. But surely then, because a lot of negativity about Bloomfield, which I completely get. I'm not here to argue against any points really here. But I think at least in terms of his lineup, I would have probably chosen roughly the same team for that game. I was pretty pleased with the lineup when it came out, as most people were.
Oh, on paper, it looks absolutely fine.
But surely then it is his job to be able to get past that. If he's not able to embed that winning mentality into players, even after we've won games. This is the disappointing thing. We can't use the excuse, we haven't won since whenever. We have been winning games in this league. We just can't then seem to do anything with that for the following game. We've had 2 weeks off and a really promising couple of games, 7 goals scored in 2 games, then 2 weeks off for new players to bed in, and we look like it's the start of the season all over again. It's just, where do we go from here? Genuine question. Where on earth do we go from here?
Well, so from the game, I'm a big supporter of Ali and Kodjua. I think they're fantastic. That sort of lineup, having them there, I believe they need fullbacks behind them because they cannot defend. For the first goal yesterday, it was a case of Kodjua letting in that cross. He couldn't get near. And Longwyke as well, he was trying. And then at the back post, you see Ali. No, it was the other way around. Ali and Longwyke, messed around with the laying their number 9, Tulich, who we pointed out in the midweek catch up. We said he looks handy, and he was excellent. Anyway, so they're letting the cross, and then at the back stick, you see Kodjua just defensively getting everything wrong. If you do any basic coaching from like under 4s levels, stuff that you're taught, always be facing the ball. He's got his back. He's got his back to it. He's trying to clear it. He can't see the player coming on. He's facing the goal, and he's waiting for the ball to come across him. And the left wing back comes in and finishes it.
Yeah.
It's just basic. Having a left winger playing left wing back or right wing back, both sides, it doesn't work because neither of them can defend. And each goal was more of a catastrophe than the one that preceded it. Yeah. The Zach Nelson one, getting dispossessed on your own box. They're going to press high up. Don't dilly-dally on the edge of your own box. It was a tidy finish, but still, schoolboy stuff. Schoolboy. I know he's only 20, but that was a schoolboy error. And then the third, you weren't there, so you probably only heard about the Keeley issue. So you've seen it? I haven't. Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen it. It wasn't on the highlights package, so I couldn't watch it back. I've seen it. Like a speculative key driver from 80 yards, and I don't know what he was doing. And then
control it.
He tried. He couldn't make his mind up. Do I go with my hand or go with my feet? Just didn't expect that to happen. And then the corner, and that was again schoolboy defending from a corner.
Yeah, all of those things, and with the Nelson thing. I mean, poor marking from a wing back / winger. God, how many times have we been saying that? Oh God, I'm so sick of it. How many games have we been saying the same thing? I've been saying it since the Premier League, that's for sure. And then, I mean, Nelson. Look, he's young. I've been singing the praises of Nelson over the last couple of games, but it's fair to say that absolute clanger there. And but he's not the first player to do it even this season. It was almost exactly the same as the Welsh conceding the goal against Cardiff, doing almost exactly the same thing, trying to dribble it out, not knowing But again, surely then that feels like that's a tactical issue as well. If it's happening more than once, I get everyone's going to F up at least, I suppose, in the season. I mean, you can probably say that the third goal was just ridiculous. Definite shades of Blackpool semi-final about it. Yeah, and fine, it's gutting, but it's just one of those things. I'm much more upset about the marking for the cross in the first place than the Clark clearance. But the rest of it, surely, we've had so many of these over the last 12 months, these supposed freak defensive errors, individual errors, players not marking their man from corners, crosses coming in. It can't just be a fluke. It's not a coincidence. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's lack of concentration. And I think that's part of what happened with Keeley. It was drop the ball in terms of concentration. You have to be concentrating all the time, because when you're attacking, it's very easy as a defender to switch off. But then you blink and bam, Plymouth are coming at you with pace. They're attacking. They had like 4 attacks all game, I think, and scored 3 goals. We were dominant. We were absolutely dominant in that game, but we did nothing with all that pressure. And look, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I'm on the soapbox.
No,
I'm not a stats guy. I won't be like, oh well, we had this XG, we had this many shots on target, we had that possession. I believe very much in the eye test. If something doesn't pass the eye test, and I know I can see Phil in the chat as well. Phil's a big proponent of the eye test as well. I think you are as well.
Yeah,
like you have to see it, and if you've been around football for a long time, if you played football at any level, or even a high level, you sort of have that instinct about things that are going on. I'll tell you one person that is not a football guy, and that's Gary Sweet, because essentially, you've heard it, I've heard it, like a friend of the pod told us, essentially Gary was adamant 9 times out of 10, we win that game. Okay, but football's not played on paper. Football's played by 22 men on a pitch, and XG does not matter. It matters how many times you put ball in the goal, even. And that is something that we just cannot do. And what do you think of the Millie Ali stuff? Because I'm sure you've seen the chances, or you've heard about the chances.
Yeah,
whereby
all over the place.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't begrudge him having a go. No one else was. No
Me
one
neither.
else
No,
was.
that's how I feel about it. And I think, that I think he's probably feeling the pressure of being a player that is expected to do things. And when obviously, that creative ball isn't there, that puts a hell of a lot of pressure on him and Kadura or Morris, whoever's playing on that side, to pretty much make and can finish chances on their own, right? Because that's what it was coming down to. So I've got no issue with him shooting. Like, I had no issue with Saville chucking one over the bar and then actually nearly scoring. That's good. Not that we're missing chances, but
You've got to
obviously
get your
that we're having a
shooting
go.
boots.
Of
Yeah.
course, we absolutely have to. And the fact that we're not tells us everything about the confidence within the season. Just one of the things that you said about Gary Sweet, about the 9 out of 10 times we win that game, and I'm with you on the eye test, and that for me XG when you have 2 penalties is a joke anyway. But I mean,
We could have been
what does it
playing
matter?
until 10 o'clock at night. We
But,
wouldn't have scored.
but even if he's right, which I don't necessarily agree with, but even if he's right, to me that doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Surely it's your job at the very top end of the club to be thinking about the problems and the reasons why we keep having this conversation, not going, oh, well, we'll be fine next time. We'll be fine next time is what has got us relegated last season. That is exactly the attitude that got us relegated. I'm not saying we're going to get relegated, but, are we happy? I mean, DMC, 1, 2, 3, realistically, are we a mid to upper mid table team? We just don't want to believe it. It's not about that. We bloody well shouldn't be. And we should expect more from a club that is still on parachute payments and has got the squad to be a hell of a lot better. So, yes, at the moment, we are playing like a team in that position, but everyone has the right to expect a hell of a lot more from this team, I'm afraid. And that should come from the top.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Should we read a couple more comments? Good evening, everyone, as well. And hello to
Sorry,
everyone that's watching back as well.
Full rant.
Phil, I saw you. Yeah, you're in the green room, Phil. We'll bring you in a moment. Yeah, I understand you have access to the actual fan phone-in channel, Phil. Naughty boy going in the back.
He let himself in, did he?
Yeah. He just let himself in, didn't he?
VIP pass. I'll just come straight in. Whatever. Roman's
Cheeky
talking
boy.
rubbish.
Cheeky boy. A lot of people are saying they're not convinced with Matt Bloomfield. Look, I can see that. I can understand that. I can't see any way that we sack a manager at this point of the season. Like, look, we should have sacked Rob Edwards early doors last season. Look, Sheffield United, they sacked Ruben Sellers. That was a terrible start to the season. But the club are not going to part ways to spend the cash, essentially. They don't. A big part of it, and I've heard this a lot, is they don't want to be like Watford's. That is a big part of why the club won't sack managers, why they're really hesitant to sack managers, which I think is really stupid, because when a manager is not doing a good job, you need to get rid of them. But I think Bloomfield needs more time. There are a lot of players that come in, they need a bed in, but I think the clock is ticking. He needs to start showing that he actually has tactics. He has tactics.
Yeah.
I can see you shaking your head. He needs to
No,
show
I
that he
agree.
can
I'm
actually
agreeing with
offer
you.
something. The fitness levels are better. The defensive organization is miles better than it was last year. It seems we have players that do actually want to be here. But what Bloomfield needs to instill in the club is the players have to want it. And there's that very, very famous quote / it's become a meme from Neil Warnock. You have to fucking die to get 3 points. And every game we play, the other team wants it a lot more than we do. They just do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I know we're waiting to bring people in. So, but I agree. I think just tactically, he's got it very wrong in the last 2 home games, particularly. During the game, maybe not the lineup before it, but certainly during the game. Substitutions again. I think yesterday some of those just surprised me, really did. But
if we're going to evolve to a shape, I think we've got to evolve to a 4 at the back shape a bit faster. You said evolve and all this and all that. We've got to move quicker. Brian Badone Burr says maybe that's Brian Badone.
Are you trying to do phone jack there? I thought that's what you were saying.
Yeah. I'm beginning to see Matt Bloomfield as the problem, preserving the same formation that simply hasn't worked and some bizarre substitutions. I did find putting Bode up top with Wells and Yates a bit weird, because on our narrow pitch, they're all just getting on top of each other.
Yeah, and still playing it as if Nordos was on the pitch.
Yeah. Well, Bode's a big boy.
just a quick question for everyone, and feel free in the chat to answer this as well, is that genuinely who would you want and who would realistically come to us at the moment? Because I think that has to be part of the conversation. I know it's a bit of a cop out when people want managers to go and it's not a reason for someone to stay, but it is interesting to see if there's anyone out there that people think actually they would do a good job and would come to Luton in League One in the situation we're currently in. But
yeah,
just a quick question.
Good, get your thoughts in the comments. Here's an interesting one here. Boardroom notes, opinion on the 23 million that swapped hands. I'd like to know more about that in terms. I'd like to see the accounting of what that is.
Swapped hands did sound dodgy.
Yeah.
Undisclosed hands.
Maybe we sold
Very
players, or well, we undisclose everything, so we have no idea how much we paid for people. We have no idea. We have sort of ballparks of how much has been spent and how much has been received. But 23 million, it seems a lot, but I can't see us having spent any more than 5 mil on players, so that means that's a lot of outgoings. Right, it's probably time to bring in our first caller of the night. Let's hope. Phil, don't have your camera on because otherwise it'll mess this whole thing up. Good evening, Phil. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, lovely.
Phil.
Hey, Mark. Have I got
Burley is saying, yeah, you're on open mic. Burley just said, this is boring about the board. They admitted there are mistakes in the Prem. Phil, you got any thoughts? You got any thoughts about the board post match?
Yeah, I have. I think they're an absolute disgrace. I was saying to you guys earlier on in our chat about how the worst thing is, and it really genuinely does pain me to say this, but I go to Kenilworth Road expecting to be bored and expecting to be disappointed. And when you're at the end and we are told that the board are fans and that they've done the amazing things they have, and I don't want to like lambast them completely. I'm not about that, but to see them clapping that absolute dross off yesterday really, really put it up me. I was really angry. And then when you later on told me about what he'd said about XG, I mean, yesterday was absolutely shambolic. It was absolutely calamitous. I don't know what other words to use that highlight just how awful it was yesterday. I mean, to say that to have the XG argument, you're going to get a good XG when you're gifted 2 penalties that pretty much weren't stonewall penalties. I don't know. I mean, the Nordas one, it looked like he just mistimed his jump and he splattered him in the face, to be fair. But
he did splat him in the face with his elbow.
But it's one of those ones where you kind of think, right, you have to, that ultimately, it wasn't like it was a goal scoring opportunity that we gained a penalty from. Do you know what I mean? Like it was obviously a mistake and it was a penalty by the letter of the law, but we didn't look like scoring from that particular opportunity. The other one, it was an overhit cross. We were gifted 2 goals. Then we were gifted an extra player because of a moment of madness from Argyle. We had shots from outside the area. Millie Ali was like taking shies at the corner flags. It was honestly, it was so bad. And to think that we had a couple more like meek headers, but for me, it was the ineptitude about the tactics and stuff. I just didn't understand what was going on, and people might say that we haven't got that creativity in the midfield. And there was a couple of times where there was a moment in the first half where it was like Zach Nelson turned into Andy Shinnie. And then Jack Stacey was on as right wing as Kadua. We just didn't have James Collins in the middle to finish it off. There's a couple of nice little moves. So it wasn't all negative, but you mentioned it earlier on in the show. We just don't do anything against 10 men. And actually, sometimes you feel like it would be better to just play against 11 because they might come on to us and leave us with some space. But I think all in all, I'm just exasperated by being a Luton fan at the minute. It's so drab and it's so bleak, and like I say, I just don't look forward to going. I look forward to the social element of going to Kenilworth Road. I look forward to seeing people. I look forward to talking to people on the concourse. I look forward to all the things that we all look forward to as football fans, having a drink and catching up with people. But I'm not excited by the way we play anymore, and that to me is a real worry. because there's just, we've always been exciting. We're Luton Town, you know, like we are such a drama fueled club, like over the last 15, 20 years. Like something always happens, but usually it goes up and down in waves. It just feels like this wave is such a long ass, boring, horrible wave. You know,
it's completely against the grain of what should be happening. Like the downs we've experienced in our 30 years following the club, there have been reasons for the downs. Like
yes.
in the 90s downs, towards the end of the 90s, was because financially we were strapped and we were selling all our assets, like everything that was not nailed down essentially, and some
Yeah.
things that were nailed down. In the noughties, again, it was financial irregularities. There is no rhyme or reason for this trajectory at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's what's possibly the biggest disappointment, is that even the days when we were going down towards the conference, it didn't feel as low as this, because there were external factors that meant you kind of offset the disappointment. But the disappointment that we're experiencing right now is just purely because we're not good enough, and that things from top to bottom aren't good enough. I mean, we haven't mentioned it on here yet, and I might get pelters for even saying this, but what the hell was going on with the recruitment? It's like they've just gone into panic mode and gone, right, we'll just get everyone that can go forward. We'll just get a million different forwards, and we'll sell everyone that's a defender. I mean, yes, it's one of those things where you can say, yeah, I was happy to be attacking and on the front foot at home yesterday by having two wingers, even like forward players playing as wing backs. But it left us exposed. We're going to concede a lot of goals if we can continue to go with that route, because essentially we had three defenders on the pitch and then we had like seven attackers and midfielders. It was just so imbalanced.
That was shown with the first goal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because when you play three at the back, like essentially you're inviting crosses. You're giving them a free man over for every single cross that's delivered into the box, providing your defenders can't shift side to side, or you have a wing back coming back. You can't have your right wing back and your left wing back both bombing on at the same time, because it leaves you hidden, exposed.
And it just looked like panic stations at the end. It was just a case of, right, just chuck everyone on that can go forward. Everyone.
And you just know we're not going to score, don't you? I mean, how many times have we been here, Phil? Where I mean, even when they scored, I think we still had 10 minutes or so plus 10 minutes of injury time to go, and it never really felt like you just know it's not going to happen. It's gone are the days where you'd push till the end. You know, that Bournemouth game springs to mind, among others, where we would just keep pushing. I mean, that would just never happen now.
No.
I don't know. I mean, in terms of answering your question, in terms of the transfer stuff, I mean, obviously, you know, someone in the middle of the park, which we clearly tried to get, but far too late. And it's a question of, you know, why aren't we looking at that earlier? Especially if we're after the players like we were, like the lad from Bolton and what's his name from Barnsley as well. You know, if we wanted them, they're not going to be last minute deals. They're big players for their side, so that was never going to happen. It's just, for me, I mean, Kate just said, do you think the club even know the reason for what's happening? I think that, you know, the lack of communication from the board to fans is probably just an indication of what's going on internally as well. There's clearly a lack of communication there as well. There's got to be, because
there is no
all the way around.
communication.
But all the way through the club is what I'm saying. Like all the way through within the recruitment team, between recruitment and Matt, between the top end of recruitment, there clearly isn't. There's not a line of thinking, is there? Despite the fact that I was happy with the players that we brought in the window. You can't disagree with Phil in terms of, you know, what actually are we signing for? What's the formation? What's the tactics here in terms of that? So, you know, I think there's obviously those issues. And yeah, in terms of Kenilworth Road thing, yeah, exactly that. It feels like the early days of the conference. It really does. That's the last time I've felt like this, where I felt like there's an expectation on us. We should be doing better than we are, and we just can't seem to shift, regardless of manager, the same thing. And yeah, for me, that's part of the problem. Yeah, there are lots of new players, but
I'll just address Burley in the chat. So what is happening in our eyes, and what is happening at the club. So obviously there is no full visibility about what's happening at the club. I've been very vocal about Gary Sweet being the great bottleneck, Gary Sweet being the final decision maker because he is CEO. Look, there are some things that I know for facts, and there are some other things that I've had to speculate on, then have later been confirmed. The Stephen Brown thing that I mentioned months ago, a couple of game weeks ago, or when Stephen Brown was manoeuvred out of the club, and I pretty much had it confirmed to me by a very reliable source that I was spot on, that he was manoeuvred out of the club, essentially because he was trying to get support to maneuver Gary Sweet off the footballing side. I believe that Gary Sweet needs to be maneuvered off the footballing side. He's doing a tremendous job on the property development side. Don't get me wrong. He's done an amazing job developing Power Court, and they're going to get, the boards and all of them. They're going to get minted from that. Don't get me wrong. And the plan is develop, sell, and just enjoy being Luton Town fans. Matt Bloomfield coming in as manager, he was the only person interviewed for the job. Like Gary Sweet came out and gave that very hard hitting with the eyes to the camera and engaging and all that. Matt Bloom, thousands of data points, loads of people shortlisted. Matt Bloomfield was the only man actually interviewed for that job. And let's not also forget, Rob Edwards was sacked way, way, way too late. It's just been shambolic. And then at the end of the season, the statement from the club was there will be reflection. There will be questions answered. I don't think anything's been done. Essentially, they're just, they're empty words to appease the masses, and they're just rolling on as normal, business as usual. They'll just keep doing what they do. Like they've restructured a little bit. Yusuf Sajjad now has a bit more of a say in terms of recruitment, but I wish he'd talked to Matt Bloomfield about it in terms of putting the squad together. Matt Bloomfield, who's had success I'm sorry about the soapbox, guys. Matt Bloomfield's had success at, 1.5 success at two clubs, playing a 4-2-3-1. We built a squad with no fullbacks. We built a squad for him that is purely built for a 3-5-2 or a derivative of 3-5-2, a 3-1-4-2. There's no, Phil said it earlier, there's no communication. There doesn't seem to be communication. Yes, they have their recruitment meetings. Like, what would you like, Matt? I'd like a couple of fullbacks. More forwards, you say? Of course. Like, I don't know what's actually happened. Like that's speculation, but it's very disjointed. Yeah. It's too disjointed, and there needs to be someone there in place of Gary Sweet to actually look after the footballing side, to tie Bloomfield, to tie Yusuf Sajjad and Jay Sochik together, because right now it's just entropy. It's mad. Everyone's going off in their own different directions, and I want to see the players fight more and want it more on the pitch. I can't help. I want my team to actually win games and actually look like they want to be there Saturday.
Well, can I just add to that slightly? And by the way, comments are great. It's always good to get different opinions on the comments as well. It's good. I like good debate, discussion about these things, and not everyone having the same opinion. So bring it on, absolutely. I mean, look, a couple of comments in here. We've been spoiled in recent years in terms of, well, yes, sure, but we're talking about the here and now. And for me, like, we as a team should be doing better. We as a team have had plenty of time in order to turn things around, and we haven't. The fact we got relegated in the first place is an absolute disaster. It's a disgrace about what happened. Absolutely. And talked about reasons behind it before. But it's absolutely clear to see that we've still got some of the same problems. Yes, we're only a few games in. Yes, we're only 5 points off top and everything else like that. But didn't we have these same conversations this time last year? Didn't we say all of the same things? We just need to give it time. Rob will turn it around, etc. I'm not saying it's the same situation. We're not going to get relegated, etc., etc. Or at least I don't think we are this time.
No, we are not getting relegated. I saw a comment earlier saying from T-Boys saying, "Oh, don't worry, we're safe."
Yeah, but you, as Phil said earlier, sorry, Phil, and feel free to join in. We're paying however much money to go to Kenilworth Road. Well, not me on Saturday, but usually I do. And you go and watch these games, and it's not for me. Like, then we have at least a right to expect our team to put on a decent show and not throw a game away, and it's happened far too often. We I'm not suggesting that we've not got some of the ball, or we're not in the attacking third, but we're not creating chances like we need to be. And that's the most frustrating thing. A lot of people left on Saturday very, very angry about how we lost that game. And it epitomizes some of the attitude that we've had really for the last season and a half. And I think that's it. That's the issue for me, at least.
Yeah, a big part of it as well. By the way, Phil's gone. Here, Burley also says people forget we got to the Prem with a League One team. It was not a League One team. We've been in the Championship and steadily climbing for 3 seasons. It was a playoff ending team that was incredibly well gelled. I see. You see it. It was very well gelled. Yeah, well, football's a team sport. You can't have luxuries in the team. That is a team game, football. And that is what we need. That is what made us. That's what gave us our success. We had a manager who knew about the team ethic, and he made a team, and he filled a team with leaders. And when a leader left, like Alan Sheehan, he replaced him with another leader. I look around the team. Saville's a leader. Cal Naismith's a leader. He didn't come on until the second half. There are very few leaders. Is Wells a leader? I don't know. He's old, but I don't know if he's a leader. You can't really be a leader. You can lead the line, but he's not like Carlton Morris was not a leader. He was not a natural leader. You need natural leaders in every position, and Nathan Jones filled the team with natural leaders. Tom Lockyer, Sonny Bradley, Matt Pearson. Shinnie wasn't a leader. James Collins, he was a leader. He was very vocal when he wasn't on the floor, and we're seeing him next week against Lincoln.
We certainly are.
Yeah.
Talking to which, Mason said he's quite worried next week about Lincoln. I get the feeling we'll beat Lincoln. I think I said this on the chat. I just get the feeling we'll beat Lincoln. We seem to be better away from home for a start as well. But it's the home form for me. It's the way we just don't seem to have the confidence at home to put chances or final ball. That's the thing for me, particularly. But yeah, certainly concern. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, but anyway, I didn't want to be angry. Like, if you watch my post match from yesterday, I'm pretty apathetic about it. But when I talk about it, it does G me up. It's I just want to see the team play as a team. I want to see the team actually want it. I feel when we're on the ball, and I've said it many, many times, we have a misplaced arrogance. Essentially, when we're on the ball, we play really slowly. And all the teams that I've seen, I've watched a fair bit of League One football this season, they play at a pace. And I've discussed this with you before, Ryman. Everyone plays with a pace. And when you watch Championship football, that is played at a pace. We play at like a canter. We barely move the ball around fast. It only gets faster when it's with Ali or Kajua, charging down the wings. That is very predictable. Essentially, you just line up your centre backs against the crosses. I want to see more from Bloomfield. I want to see actual out the box thinking, passes through the middle, people taking shots from outside the box.
That's it.
We've got to show that we can adapt. We've got to see that we can actually do something, that we can move the ball faster. Oh, there's a gap in midfield. Okay, slide the ball through the lines, break the lines instead of our centre backs. It's a point that was made by Matt on Discord. Our centre backs, they, apart from Naismith, no one passes forward. They pass side to side, try and find the wing backs. That is all we do at the moment. I was hoping we'd have a bit more. And Burley now says no one has a right to win. We just go to support. Of course we go to support. But the thing is, the players that are there, the managers that are there, the manager that is there, they're all just, it's just a paycheck for them. We're here. We're always going to be here. And we want whoever pulls on the shirt to want to be here and want to fight, want to sweat blood and tears for the shirt. Give a shit. I think it's just the case that we have become a bit apathetic with it because we've seen the same thing.
we've all seen the same thing over and over again. And as Phil was saying earlier, you don't go to Kenilworth Road with that sense of excitement as much anymore. I think actually, genuinely, I think most people were really positive yesterday before the game. I think most people were really positive about the game. Obviously, the Barnet game, lots of the new signings, especially Shaden Morris, showed what they can do. Kadu has started to really come into his own. We know how good Ali is as well. There were lots of positivity, and the team news came out, and it remained. There wasn't any massive surprises, but then, it was just constant sort of waves of attack without any final product, as we've had so many times before, and it just becomes utterly predictable. Like you were saying with 10 men, it just becomes an utterly predictable situation. There was like we said, about 20 minutes to go by the end of the game. You tell me, I had absolutely no doubt that we were going to finish the game having lost it. Absolutely no doubt. Now, that might be me being pessimistic, but there's just, as you were saying about fight and everything else, there's no way we were going to get that goal. Never. So,
but Burley's right. No one has a right to win. But how dare we expect our team to win in a competitive football match? That this is a football ladder. The aim of the ladder is to get as high up as possible. You do that by winning games. So how dare we want our team to win and be disappointed when we lose? Like I can take a loss, but it's the manner of the loss. I want a loss to feel like you've been in a game, and not just chuck three goals in your own three goals in your own net.
Interesting comment from Hats Dave. Do we support though? It's been silent Kenilworth Road for a long time. Too many entitled fans. In the old days, in challenging times, we'd shout louder. Listen, I mean, I think there's an argument
react.
there.
We are reactive rather than proactive as a fan base.
Yeah, we are. I think there is an argument there. There are times where I've felt really like that it hasn't been loud enough. But also it goes both ways. It always goes both ways. And I don't know. In the old days, it's difficult to know what old days you're talking about, Dave. To be honest, so I'm not gonna judge too much on that. But when I first started supporting Luton in the 90s, would have been for us. It certainly wasn't. It was never a place that people feared then. It was always quiet, always. And the non-league is the same as well. So it's not the first time this has happened. It's what comes with expectation, I think. An expectation, I think, to be doing better than we are in League One. If we'd have been having this conversation in the summer break between the Premier League and the Championship, and I'd have said to you, everybody on here on the stream, in 12 months or 15 months' time, we're going to be in League One, and it's fair enough that we've lost 3-2 to a 10-man Plymouth side while we've just got relegated again. I think it's fair enough to have a little bit of expectations that the team finally repay us back as a fan base for the 2 relegations. I really do. I know that it doesn't work like that, and it is a fair argument the fans could get involved more. But also,
do you remember when Cody Drammy put in that tackle, Sunderland playoff semi-final? The crowds reacted to it. Whenever a hard tackle's put in, that is when everyone responds. Yeah. Whenever there's a good passage of play and we nearly score, that is when the crowd reacts. The players haven't been giving us enough to react to.
Yeah.
And it started off loud yesterday. It started off loud.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Minutes. I think it was exciting. I think people were positive yesterday. And obviously it didn't turn into that because of the nature of the goals we conceded as well. I mean, it's so frustrating. But yeah, I mean, that is it's the part of the price of expectation. It's human nature. I don't think it's got anything to do with these days versus the old days. I think it's just human nature to have that level of expectation.
Yeah. Right. Shall we bring in another caller? We got Ash joining us. Ash, apologies for the wait, mate. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Ash. How are you doing?
Hello, Mark. Hello, Ollie. How are you both?
Yeah, doing all right.
Yeah, right.
Do you think it's time for the bucket of water?
Yeah.
Oh, I was waiting for it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think I was asking a few of the fans and I asked them about McGuinness. I think we miss him.
No.
You didn't watch the Ipswich game, surely?
Yeah,
then in that
I was not sad with him leaving at all. Like, we got a head on a stick that's really, really slow, and that's Mads Anderson. We don't need another one of them in the
That's a
team.
bit harsh.
He's a head on a stick.
Nah,
He's a
that's a
head
bit
on a
harsh.
stick.
No,
He
I
can
think-
head
I think
everything away.
No.
McGuinness's debut for Sheffield United was absolutely atrocious, and it was made even better when Tahith Chong came on and just stank the place out. It was tremendous.
Can I suggest one of the? For me, I think the biggest issue with defence is just the constant changing things around. We learned that from last season. A consistent back three is far more important than who's in it. I think any of those defenders should be good at this level, but regardless, I mean, I would have liked McGuinness to have stayed because I did think he would have got back to some of the level he was at the end of last season, but fine. I'm not hugely disappointed that he went, but I think for me it's lack of consistency in that back three or where they're playing is more of an issue.
I think that we should give Bloomfield until the Stevenage game, and then I think he should resign. If we lose to Stevenage, then I think it's time to change management.
Resignations don't happen in football. Who's walking away from a pay packet?
It's not,
and we're not going to.
He's not a politician.
Sack him. Yeah. He's not going to resign in disgrace. I don't think he's going anywhere. Like they'll wait until we can't mathematically make the playoffs. I think we'll be in and around the playoffs for a while, and I do think it's going to get better. That's the optimist in me. It has to get better. I think it will gel. No, it will. It will get better.
I just don't. I just
we're
don't
just
like
all
that.
hurting
It
because
has
of
to get better. I just don't like that phrase because we've been here before. But yeah,
it can't get any worse. But like, if we look at it, if we really interrogate it, that League One promotion, well, the championship winning season from 18-19, we didn't get going until October. I think it's October the 23rd when we lost to Barnsley 3-2. George Monker absolutely tore us a new one that day. And then we went on a 28-game unbeaten run. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do that again. But it should get better once the team gel. I do think the three at the back with like two very aggressive wing backs is kamikaze, because you're just asking to get, you're asking searching questions of the wide centre backs. But once Al Hamadi's there, it just has to get better. And another thing about that season, we didn't lose much against the top 10, but we didn't beat the top 10. We drew a lot against the top 10. That's where we gotta improve. We need to not lose against the other teams that are going to be in and around it. But everyone from I think 14th down, we beat all of them.
Yeah,
or we
but
didn't lose against
Stevenage. We have to beat Stevenage, and
Yeah.
and we have to beat Lincoln, because it is, for my personal opinion, I think we need to start winning, and we need to do it quick.
Yeah,
tough few games to do it.
absolutely.
Tough few games, aren't they? I mean, forget the sort of semi-rivalry, I guess, with Stevenage, although it more comes to the other end, I guess. But they have been doing well. A tough game against Lincoln. Like I said, I feel like we might win it. Then if we got after that, I think it's we've got a tough few games coming up anyway, up until the next sort of international break. So my worry is that we will see off teams lower than down. The likes of your Burton Albions, I think we will, but that won't be good enough to be where we all expect to be by the end of the season.
You're 100% correct.
It's Lincoln, Doncaster, Blackpool, which is the reorganised game. I saw a comment earlier from Mark the Hatter saying we should not have cancelled that game. I agree. I think we lost. I said it in the midweek catch-up, didn't I?
You did say it was your fair.
We lose all momentum, and we did. Blackpool, then Stevenage, and then we got Cambridge in the EFL Trophy, then Huddersfield. It's actually quite a tough little run up until Mansfield, 18th of October.
Because if he doesn't win these games, he needs to leave. and we can get Nick Harford in maybe for a little while.
Mick Harford doesn't want it.
Mick Harford's
Mick's battling with his health, man.
Oh,
He's
no, that's
old.
the
He's
problem.
nearly 70 now. He doesn't want it.
And as I said earlier, you know, I haven't seen any. I think we had the Lincoln manager suggested by someone, but yeah, please feel free in the comments to suggest, because I have the problem as well that I can't think of anyone else who would come in at the moment, at least. Because
you can see, if you look at the stadium right now, everyone is going quiet in there. It's like my feelings is that no one wants to be there.
It's quite difficult. Yeah, like, I have a good time with my mates. Like, the only person I would go and get would be Nathan Jones. Look, we've seen it. Chris Wilder, he's come back to Sheffield United many, many times. It'd be an expensive prospect, so you might not want to drop down a league. But if we were to go the way and get rid of Bloomfield, the only manager we can go get is Nathan Jones.
He's the best manager we've had for a couple of years now.
Football clubs are like football clubs are like shoes. You know, not every foot will fit in every shoe. There are some feet that fit in shoes.
He's having a great time in Charlton. There's no way he's coming back to Earth.
No time.
Nathan Jones fits Luton like a glove. He's a tremendous manager. He didn't get the rubber green. Stoke or Southampton, both are basket cases by all accounts, but he's the only one. He's the only one that could come in and actually get us going that way right now. Well, I'm not. Jury's still out on Bloomfield. I'm not saying Bloomfield has to go, but as I said before, we've got to see more. We've got to see more. Maybe we need you going to the Brace with the bucket of water.
I think if I was off work, you know, then I could do that. But the problem is, I'm working, so I can't go down there and throw a bucket of water. But but there is a few problems. Like yesterday, they just looked like they didn't want to be there. Those players, they're just lazing around, just getting paid. And from my opinion, we need to do something quick, because Bloomfield looks like he's losing. He's losing it, isn't he? And then we don't want, you know, the fans to get more upset, because what we saw yesterday, I have seen that before, but this is worse. Feels really bad.
It's pretty bad. Like, fans in the enclosure shouting abuse at the players, which is completely wrong. It's not right. And I sit right above the tunnel, and I was standing there watching it, and there was this bloke just going off at Saville. And Saville, quite rightly, you know, had to be held back, because I don't know what was said, but he was saying it in a very aggressive manner. I'm sure he wasn't saying, "Chin up, lads." Yeah, well, he wasn't saying well played. He was like, you know, do more, Saville. It was obviously some horrendous words that were exchanged to get that sort of reaction out of Saville. So just be better than that. Don't do that. But you know, the 100%. Players need to show something. You know,
at the moment, I think we haven't got a great leader.
No, well, I said that earlier, that the old Nathan Jones team, he just filled the team with leaders, and when he left, like they sort of just, Mick Harford said they sort of regulated and managed themselves. Who are the leaders in the squad now?
I don't know whether it's a leader issue anymore, although I agree that certainly was an issue last season. I think Saville and Naismith, particularly Saville, I think I've seen it on the pitch at least in terms of leadership been very positive. But I do think that we have a lack of, don't take this the wrong way, but I do think we do have a bit of a lack of arrogance about the way we play as well. I know you were saying
a lack of arrogance.
Yeah, I'm
saying they have too much arrogance.
You are. I know, and I disagree. I think the problem
that's 100%. You're right.
I think that you're talking about players. I know what you meant, Ollie, and I don't think we're at cross wires here. Actually, I think we're just using it in a different context. So just bear with me. I think that, you know, when we, as you were saying, we can see a pass through the lines to make it. Players are second guessing themselves. How many times this season have we seen a player of Jordan Clark's quality, easy for me to say, who we know can score from outside the box, right? Instead of doing it, second guess it, player comes across, it's too late, pass it back. For me, that's what I mean. You know, Al Hamady, when he came in and said, Luton Town need me, that was a breath of fresh air to someone to say that, like someone to put the ball in the back of the net. And whether it comes off or not, we'll see. But there seems to be a real lack of that decisiveness then, maybe, if you want to call it that. But for me, that comes from confidence or confidence in your own ability. It's just gone, particularly at home. But yeah, so that's what I
I'd
meant.
say you're
really.
definitely right in the final third. In the final third, you're definitely right. It's like everyone just collectively shits himself as soon as the box approaches. As soon as they see the 18-yard line, it's like, oh my god, I'm not taking responsibility for this. I'm going to pass the ball to someone else because, that's what I loved about Ali. He took the responsibility to have a shot.
Yeah.
Both times, both feet. They were terrible shots, and we all had a laugh about it at the time, but. No one's taking that responsibility. I wouldn't call it arrogance. I would say, it's. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think just.
I think if you're going to be favourites, as we've been talking about in games, that's the quality that you need more of. Like, you're okay if you're not favourites because it takes all of that away. And you don't need that anymore, and then it's just. The plucky underdog thing. But when you're favourites, you need to be able to go, I'm better than you. Because, look, let's be honest.
Belief in self-belief, belief in your own abilities.
That's it. Most of the teams we've come up against, I would say, with maybe the exception of Cardiff, every other team, including Plymouth, man for man, we are better. Like, those players are better. I know it's on paper, but you just get the feeling that they don't always necessarily go, right, I'm better than you. You know what Shaden Morris did in the Barnet game? He, when he got that penalty, he looked the defender in the eye and went, I'm quicker than you. Bang. That's what we need more of. That and we're just not getting it enough.
I think we need to just wait for the next couple of games and see how it goes.
Yeah. I think it will improve. It just look,
we can't.
If I can see what needs to be done, I'm not a FIFA accredited coach. I forced myself to sit through the highlights. Like, Matt Bloomfield has to sit back through the entire game and watch it back, for analysis. Surely he can see what I see, what everyone sees, and how we've conceded the goals. Obviously, concentration is a big part of it. He has to see where the shots need to happen. Now, I talked about self-confidence and confidence in one's own abilities. Thello Asgard had that. He was that sort of person that would be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to take a shot now. And to be honest, like, to have that hair, you have to have self-confidence. Like, genuinely. That's the thing. We lack players that have that belief in their own ability. I think Ali has it, Kajua has it, but you need someone in the middle that has that ability. We need that more from Zach Nelson. And we don't need Zach Nelson playing it, on the edge of his own 18-yard box. That's where Saville's got to be.
Yeah, I think it's difficult with Zach Nelson, isn't it? Because of his age as well. And he hasn't played much senior football. But you're right. I mean, it comes with the territory of that position that Thello played in as well, right? You get attacking midfielders. That's their job. Of course they do. I mean, look at Borja Sainz last season for Norwich. Yeah, he'd shoot from anywhere and actually did score quite a lot in the first half of that season as well. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that you need from that position of play, and it's difficult for Nelson to carry that confidence considering his age. I'm not excusing the mistake he made, but I think that's part of
look, Liam Walsh made the exact same.
Exactly. In
fact, Liam Walsh's was worse because it happened to Zach Nelson faster. Liam Walsh literally dribbled into a Cardiff player.
Yeah, after having an absolute stinker of a game as well. So I agree.
Whereas Zach Nelson had a good game for large parts. Like, most of the attacking play came through him. He outshone Jordan Clark, which was very odd for Jordan Clark to have such a quiet game. But between Nelson and Clark, we both know. We know they both can hit them from distance. They both need to hit them from distance. And I think there was a moment where Jordan Clark, the ball actually opened up to him on his right foot. But when he slotted in Kajua, he passed it out wide to Kajua to send in the cross
in
rather than actually take the shot.
7-foot defenders. But, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it.
And that was in the second half as well. When Nordas had come off and been replaced by Naki Wells. Kajura put in some good crosses, but I said it in the post-match. There's no one to put that James Collins toe on it. You know, that little Colo toe.
I think Yates will get better with that. So I agree better with that. I think his positional play just still a bit rusty, but I think he will get better at getting in on the near post pass players that both Hilton and Colo did really, really well for us in respective leads. I think he will get better at doing that. And obviously, you know, between him and Al Hamadi, we should have at least someone who can do that. But yeah, I completely agree. Martin Cawthorne just said a couple of points there. Fanny and Mengi need to come in. That one's an interesting one. Players are always better when they're not playing, aren't they? At this point, grass is always greener. Although, but it is a bit though. It's always a bit of that, you know. And then Mengi will come in and be absolute tripe and hoof it around, and then it'll be Turner to someone else. But you know, if Mengi plays as well as we've had this conversation before, then of course that would help, especially with his athleticism. While I thought it was a bit harsh your comment about Anderson. Although he didn't have a great game last game, I agree.
No.
Certainly Mengi's
probably injured.
Probably still injured. Yeah, he probably is. Yeah.
Ash, while we got you on, mate, before we let you go, do you think Mengi would be the answer in the middle instead of Anderson?
Yes, please. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, well said. I think so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Ash. I just hope things change, because for the fans, we all go there to watch Luton, and the fans, I've never seen them like that for a long, long time. It's so early in the season and already after Bloomfield. So for my opinion, how long should we give Bloomfield?
Ash, we were an 89th minute own goal away from that happening in the first game of the season, mate. That's the truth of it. If that goal hadn't have gone in, this would have happened 6 games ago.
Oh, okay, so
I really do think it would have done. I'm not saying he should have gone, by the way, but I think the reaction would have happened.
Mark and Ollie, do you think that I'm right? Give it up to Stevenage and then he should resign, or do you think he should stay for up to Christmas? I think it'd be too late by Christmas.
I think we have to give it 15 games and reassess it there. Like if we are in the playoffs, like 6th or higher after 15 games, or like a point away, I think then he can continue. But I think you got to give him 15 games. Like the old cliche is, don't look at the table until 10 games. I think he needs 15.
I'm just a bit worried about the Stevenage game. I'm a bit worried. I'm worried about the Lincoln game. He needs to sort it out now. He's got to get hold of the table and say, look, mate, I'm the boss here, not you lot.
Yeah. No, exactly. You need authority.
Yeah, it looks like he's losing it. That's what it looks like. I think he's too soft now. He needs to sort it out. Otherwise, if he is going to be too soft on them, then he needs to leave.
Yeah. I'm not convinced he is with them actually, but I do think he is under pressure. He feels under pressure. I'm with Ollie. I don't think it's time for him to go.
Safest job in football being Luton Town manager.
Yeah, he's not going to last now. I think the Rob Edwards thing, look, as you said, I agree. The board don't want to be Watford. I think that was so specifically true with Rob Edwards because of it being Rob Edwards. I don't think that'll happen again, but I've been wrong before, but I don't think it will. but I do think that, we've got however many new players. They will need some more time. It's just frustrating to see the same old thing at Kenilworth Road.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Let's just hope it's positive against Lincoln, and the next 5 games are positive now, and that's all we can hope. Because I feel for the fans really. They pay a lot of money to go and watch, and all they want them to do is defend, isn't it? That's all we want them to do is to, if a 0-0 we'll be happy with a 0-0 at Lincoln, and start from there.
It's got to be a win. Got to build on a win. Ash, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate you. And I'll see you at a game sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, both of you, Mark and Ollie. Take care, my friends. Bye bye.
Cheers. Thanks, Ash. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm with Burley, by the way, on this one. Mengi, yes, but not his attitude. 100%.
Well, he's got to be playing to be in the shop window, because
we said this
by all
season,
accounts
though.
he was close. He was close to joining Burnley. So essentially, his attitude, his head has to be screwed on. I was told pre-season that Mengi was a completely different player this season to the Mengi from last season.
Well, he's on the treatment table. He's exactly the same player he was last season.
This was,
he's an injured player.
I mean, this was just before his injury. I can't remember when this meeting was, actually. But yeah, apparently Mengi completely different around the club. So, it could be interesting. We'll see what happens with Mengi. You just need to see him once and see if he actually is in for it. But Mengi with his head screwed on is easily the best defender in this league.
Oh,
it really is.
There's no argument with that. This isn't about ability. It is exactly what you're saying. It's about whether he wants to. And well, there's a place probably up for grabs after that. So might get to see him soon.
Just a word as well, like Ash has just said in the in the comments, captain armband should go to Saville if Naismith is unavailable, not Clark. Never plays well when he's captain. That is a very, very good point. And interestingly, I don't know if you heard Cal Naismith's BBC Three Counties radio interview. Always better to listen to the 3CR rather than the in-house club propaganda, because that's what it is. Naismith said, and this is what I've said as well, we can't keep giving the ball to Ali and Kajua. Now, if I can see it and Cal can see it, that is why I think it will improve, because surely Bloomfield sees that as well. We need to expect more of Nelson. We need to expect more of Clark. If Clark isn't playing, Fanny, he could play a box-to-box role, surely, with Saville behind him. Everyone needs to take accountability. Everyone needs to be accountable for what they're doing on the pitch. Any concluding thoughts, Ryman?
I hope that things start to change, but I'm still concerned about that kind of the psychology of it at home. But I'll still keep going. I'll still be there. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'm feeling we'll do better against Lincoln. I do. There'll be less pressure because we're away from home. A bit more time the team as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a while, isn't it, before we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. I just think I think regardless of your viewpoint, and it's good we've had lots of different views on it tonight, and I quite like that. I much prefer this to be everybody just agree and say yep. But regardless of your different viewpoints, let's remember that it's okay to have those different viewpoints. It doesn't need to be. Then it leads to us hating the club or you hating the club or whatever,
or taking your anger out on specific players.
100% that. No, that's never excusable.
Yeah.
That's horrendous. Remember that divisiveness that we had last season and people bemoaning different viewpoints very soon became really toxic as well. So it's fine to disagree. Yeah. Let's just leave it at
everyone can have an opinion. Everyone 100%. Can have an opinion, but just don't get violent or abusive with it. Respect other people's opinions. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone. But that's us done. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been absolutely sensational on the chat. And yes, everyone watching back or listening back, I hope you all have a great evening. And remember, we also have a midweek catch-up. I think it's going to be all four of us, isn't it? It's me, you, Wedge and Phil. Wednesday, perfect. It's hump day. We'll help you get over that hump. And we'll preview a game. We'll just talk about what's been going on.
We'll have the press conference probably by then to talk about as well. So
yeah, what is with that? Why are the press conferences so
Everything's earlier? Even the lineups are earlier. Why is that?
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
It throws me every single week.
Throws me off.
Yeah. Me too. Don't get it. But fine. I'm not moaning about that. That's fine. Whatever. But at least we'll have that to talk about Wednesday as well.
Yeah, it's just a shame that the 120th birthday of Kenilworth Road was besmirched in such a way. Tremendous coincidence, though. Plymouth was our first game. It was a 0-0. And Plymouth was our game on our 120th birthday. was just completely different from a bog standard 3-2, but we still ended up with 7 attackers on the pitch, just like the old days. Tremendous stuff, right? Everyone, have a good evening, and most importantly, come on, you Hatters!